That old early morning sun's about to break on the horizon, the coffee's a-perkin', and the bacon's a-cookin', and it's time once again to head on up to Sportsman's Lodge and visit with Ron Jones.
We don't try to kill anything but roosters, you know. Yeah.
Good morning, folks. Glad you could join me on Sportsman's Lodge. I'm Ron Jones. We're on every Saturday morning right here on News 13 WMBB at 6 a.m. We certainly do appreciate you watching this program and doing business with our sponsors. That's what keeps us on the air. I want to remind you about the Oktoberfest. It's going to be October the 8th in Sunny Hills, put on by the Sunny Hills Civic Association. They've got a Maverick 88. It's on display at King's Discount Drugs, Hunting, and Fishing Supplies in Chipley, Florida. That's on Main Street, and I think you can buy tickets for that. They're $10 a piece. I'd suggest you go get you some. That's a nice shotgun. You want to participate in that. Also, today you want to check in on the weighings at the Florida Catfish Classic in Weehawken, Florida. And they've got, they started yesterday. They went out. They're coming in for the weigh-in today, starting at noon, I believe it is. And you want to check in on that and check that out. That's at Gaskin Park in Weehawken, Florida. Also, the peanut boil is today from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Come enjoy free hot boiled peanuts at the Panhandle Pioneer Settlement. That's in Bluntstown, Florida on Highway 20. Look for Silas Green Street, go north, and you'll run into the park, the settlement up there. So, also want to remind you quickly, and we're going to have a little more about this later in the show, about the Ghost Walking History Tour at Camp Helen State Park. That's going to be October the 8th at 5 to 5:30 p.m. A lot of good fun and activities there. You don't want to miss that. It's at Camp Helen State Park. It's going to be October the 8th, so you want to be sure to participate in that. Got something also I want to tell you. We're going to have a good program today, like we always do. Alto Carroll and Janet Carroll, his wife, they go camping a lot, and they get some nice fish. They catch a lot of catfish. They go with 2 or 3 other people that are friends of theirs, and they go camping up different places. But, we're going to have that on today. They share some footage with us. We're going to have Lynn Cherry from the Friends of Camp Helen State Park. She's going to be talking about the acquisition, how the state acquired Camp Helen, and also Emily Smith. Emily Smith is going to talk about the history tour that they have, and that's once a month. You need to do that. You need to do that. It's a really exciting thing. So we're going to have all that on today. Maybe find time for some more stuff. Who knows? Want to read you this real quick. It's somebody sent it to me on the email. It's called, it just says, what is Generation Y? The letter Y. What is Generation Y? I've always wondered this myself, and now I know. People born before 1946 were called the silent generation. The baby boomers are those between 1945 and 1959, and the Generation X people have been born between 1960 and 1979. The Generation Y, they were born between 1980 and 2010. Why do we call this last group Generation Y? Because they frequently ask, why should I get a job? Why should I have to leave home and find my own place? Why should I have to get a car when I can drive and borrow yours? Why should I clean my room? Why should I wash and iron my clothes? Why should I buy any food? A cartoonist explained it very eloquently in this cartoon right here. If the shoe fits, wear it. See the why? See the why? Anyway, I thought that was kind of neat. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to have, like I say, Camp Helen State Park on, and we're also going to have Alto Carroll and Janet Carroll with some nice catfish. And I'll tell you what, they have such a wonderful time with that. We're going to show you all that in just a little bit. I'm Ron Jones, Sportsman's Lodge. We'll see you in just a minute.
After all the flags are gone, what's the next to go? Confederate graves. Join the sons of Confederate veterans. Help fight political correctness and keep Confederate flags flying.
Have you got water problems? Pump won't pump? Do you need answers and solutions, but you don't want the runaround and you want someone honest? Well, have no fear, folks. Do what I did. Call the man, Water Dan. Dan Dubose will take care of your problem.
Hello, folks. This is Water Dan. I work on submersible pumps, jet pumps, do repairs and upgrades, anything to do with an existing water well. I would appreciate it if you call.
Call the man, Water Dan. He'll take care of your water problems. 850-535-9308. 535-9308. Folks, you know why people from Washington, Jackson, Holmes, Bay County, you know why they call Water Dan? Because Dan Dubose knows what he's doing. Y'all give him a call.
Wow, this snow sure is gritty and salty. No, silly, this is sand, not snow. So that's why it's so hot. Yeah, but thank goodness our daddy owns A-Plus Air Conditioning. He keeps our home as cold as Alaska. Cool. Hey, I'll race you home.
For the most professional, most reliable, and most preferred air conditioning service in the area, call A-Plus Air Conditioning, 850-230-3009.
Okay, bet you I can win.
If you can dream it, we can do it. Sleek. Invigorating. Beautiful. Beauty at the Beach, where make-believe becomes reality. Back Beach Road, just west of Highway 79.
We're back, folks, and with me is Emily Smith, and she's going to talk a little bit about the history tour that they have. Is it once a month now?
It's once a month, yes.
Okay, it's once a month, so we're going to be talking about that. But we first want to hit again on the Ghost Walk, when that's going to be, and Lucky Mud. I haven't heard them, but I have heard that I need to hear them because they're such a good group. And anyway, tell us a little bit about the Ghost Walk and Emily and the group.
Well, the group has volunteered their time to play as people get off the bus until they can start through the storytelling group, and this will be held on Saturday, October the 8th, and it's from 5 until 8:30. You park at the Winn-Dixie and ride a bus into the park. The cost is $5 for adults and $3 for children that are 12 and under.
And we promise you won't be disappointed. You'll have a good time. And that's the Winn-Dixie at the end of at West Panama City Beach. That's right before you get to Phillips Inlet. So don't show up at the Winn-Dixie over in Callaway because you won't find a bus anyway. So tell us a little bit now about the history tour and what goes on. I know you can't tell everything about it, and we don't want to tell everything about it, but it's a good event. Good event.
Well, it's once a month, and we're doing it on the first Saturdays, and it's at 10 o'clock. And it's free with the admission into the park, and that's $4 for a whole carload. So on the first Saturdays, you get the history tour. And we start with the history when this was actually inhabited by Indians. We know that there were Indian tribes that lived here because we have found 2 middens that tell us of that period of history. And we go through that time. Then we go into the early 1920s when this area all through here had as many as 6 hotels, but here on the Camp Helen property there was one that was called the Inlet Beach Hotel, and we tell about that.
As you can see, folks, from just from some of the shots here, it's a beautiful place. Let's touch briefly. This thing goes way back to Avondale Mills and Hicks, and it just is a lot of history here that we want that you'll see a lot more of, hear a lot more about when you go on the tour. But tell us a little bit briefly about how far this thing goes back.
Well, after the hotels were here, then the property was purchased by the Hicks family. It was purchased in 1928, and they bought it for a summer home. Mr. Hicks died in 1932, but his wife built the house. And so we tell about the history of the Hicks and the time that they owned it. And then they sold the property in 1945. And it was sold to Avondale Mills, who purchased it to be used as a recreational facility for the employees of their textile mill.
I bet they had a fun time here.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah. I'm sure they did. And we tell about that time, and it was owned by Avondale Mills until eventually they sold it, and it was sold to a developer, and there's where the Helen Schroeder and Lynn Cherry came in because they wanted to save this beautiful land for the use of everyone.
And we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit with Lynn Cherry, so y'all stay tuned. And Emily, I certainly really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Okay, y'all stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute.
When you're taking your vacation, make it all that it can be. Rest and relaxation for yourself and your family. When you take to the open road, you'll know what it's like to be free. If you want to find out how freedom feels, come to Holiday on Wheels. If you want to find out how freedom feels, come to Holiday on Wheels.
Everybody's discovered Bailey's in Shipley, Florida.
I'm Bo Durham. This is my wife, April. We come from Panama City every Friday night to eat at Bailey's. The food's great.
They just can't get enough of that good Friday and Saturday night seafood buffet, stacked with big crab legs, shrimp, oysters, hot wings, and more. And them down-home cooked vegetables, man, what you talking about? For you steak lovers, the largest selection cooked to perfection. Bailey's Surf and Turf Highway 77 at Highway 90, Shipley, Florida. It's so good. Innovative Glass. Together, Mark Moody and Tim Johnson have over 2 decades of experience in the glass industry. Mark and Tim have made Innovative Glass a success story. It's a family thing. They are not brothers, but like brothers. Each one knows what the other expects. Innovative Glass has the most up-to-date equipment that you won't find at a lot of other glass companies in the area. They specialize in residential and commercial. Anything from shower doors, tabletop glass, and special made-to-fit windows and doors, Innovative Glass can handle small and large jobs, including big condo development window and door replacements. Innovative Glass has Sportsman's Lodge stamp of approval. Give them a call.
It's 850-541-2417 and 850-541-2418.
Innovative Glass, the professionals in Bay County.
Folks, Alto and Janet Carroll, y'all have heard me talk about them. You've seen them on the program before. In fact, Alto was on with his grandson a couple of weeks ago with that big rattlesnake. But anyway, Alto and Janet, occasionally they'll jump in that camper and take off, and they love to go jug fishing, and sometimes they go to Cotton Hill Park. It's about 5 miles north of Fort Gaines, Georgia. It's just off Georgia Highway 39, and it's one of several U.S. Army Corps of Engineer parks on the Walter F. George Lake. The campground hours there, if you want to go, are in Eastern time. You can see them on the screen there. And this is the Gatehouse registration facility. You'll recognize that when you get there. And this is Cindy Preda. She's the park attendant on duty when they were there at the registration facility. While fishing up there, they met a bunch of people. They met a Mr. and Mrs. Ben Gilbert, and Mr. and Mrs. Bonnell Sapp, and Mr. and Mrs. Fuller Gaynor. And you meet a lot of people when you're on the water like that. They like to jug fish too. Some we don't have any pictures of people that they met there. Just having a lot of good time. And so Mr. and Mrs. Jerry Foxworth, Mr. and Mrs. Bill Gunter, and Mr. and Mrs. Roy Foxworth. This was their neighbors, Bobby and Mary Wilson from Highland Park in Bay County. Bobby is retired from the paper mill, and Mary is still working there. He built 18 bluebird houses out of a western cedar and gave them to the Corps of Engineers to be placed throughout the Cotton Hill Park. This is Alto and Janet Carroll's campsite. They were set up there. Bobby and Mary Wilson's campsite, I believe they were right next to them, and Richard and Arnell Clark's campsite. Some of the people I think that they met up there that they go jug fishing regularly with. This is a shot of the George Bagby State Park Marina as they viewed it from Cotton Hill. That's across the water there where you see the boats. This is Richard. He's grilling steaks, and they don't always eat fish the whole time they're there. You gotta have some good old steaks every now and then. But that's Richard grilling some steaks, and here's Alto chasing his noodles, trying to. That's those things they fish with. He cuts them up and uses those as floaters. And he's chasing them around, pulling them up. And here's Richard chasing and landing one of several fish that he caught while they were there. Boy, these are some nice, beautiful catfish. Alto brought me some, and I tell you what, they are quality fish, quality fish. Here's a shot of Richard baiting and throwing out his jugs. And I tell you what, they caught a lot of fish. This is Richard demonstrating how to use his. He designed and built a catfish skinner stand, and that's what he's using right here. This is in that new cookhouse that they just built up. I mean, fish cleaning house that they built up there. But he donates them every now and then. It says after his demonstration, he gave one to Vince Magrin, I guess is his name, on the left from Dothan, Alabama, and one to David King on the right from Crawfordville, Florida. People come all over from everywhere to go camping up there. This picture was taken inside the new fish cleaning house in the park. So here's Alto holding 2 of the 252 catfish that they all caught. Man, I'll tell you what, Alto, I was trying to go up there and had trouble with my Jeep and had to put it in the shop. I couldn't make it up there. I wanted to shoot some footage, but we're going to go, I guarantee you. Here's Richard holding 2 of the many he caught. Janet said this is not half of the 83 fish caught in 3 hours one morning. 83 fish in one morning. There's more than that. This was just 83 I'm on it. That's all I could get on the table, I guess. Anyway, here's a pot of lima beans and ham that Janet Carroll prepared for lunch. Like I say, they don't always eat just fish, and hush puppies and stuff. And here's Richard and Arnell Clark and Janet Carroll feasting on the lima beans and cornbread. I tell you what, whether you got any fish or not, boy, that sounds like a drive up there and just eat some lima beans and cornbread. That sounds like a good meal right there. Anyway, says you'd think they'd be eating fish. I'm sure they ate fish 2 or 3 times. But anyway, I tell you what, I know someone that would love to be sitting up there at that table eating catfish and drinking coffee. Loves to do that. I tell you what, I would too. But anyway, Janet and Carol, Janet and Alto Carroll, I certainly do appreciate that footage. And folks, if y'all got any stuff you want to show on this program, just get it to us. And there's the address on the screen. We'll be glad to do that. And Alto said he's going to shoot us some more stuff. So anyway, appreciate that stuff, Alto and Janet, and all the folks that participated in this. And we just certainly do appreciate it.
I never look for answers on the wind. I never counted on the stars. But there were times I took it on the chin. And just like you, I've got some scars. But scars don't mean you have to hold the pain. You can learn to let it go. If you'll let love melt your heart like sunshine melts the snow. Just like sunshine melts the snow.
It's the next best thing to the old vegetable truck. It's Main Street Market in Chipley. Owned and operated by Paul Davidson, Main Street Market stocks the largest selection of good fresh fruits and vegetables and a whole lot more.
We sell wholesale or retail.
From fresh local milk.
That's so cheesy creamery milk.
To a complete line of Amish products to livestock and pet food.
We now offer a full line of Seminole feed. We also carry a full line of frozen vegetables. All types of Amish cheese. We have Amish butter. That's one of our specialties.
Hey, you need it? We've got it. Top quality coastal Bermuda horse hay year round. If you like fresh fruits and vegetables, we have them at Main Street Market.
Corner of Highway 77 and 90 in Chipley, Florida.
I've been a fisherman most of my life, and there's one thing that I know. You ain't got very much of a boat if you don't have a rhino. No wood to rot, it'll never rust. It's a boat you can always trust. Now you know what I know. Make your boat a rhino. You gotta have a rhino.
Joe's Motor Service and Rhino Boats revolutionize the aluminum boat industry. Make your next boat a Rhino, and they can do service on just about any outboard.
Here at King's Outdoors, we have all major brands of handguns, shotguns, rifles, scopes, and accessories, including Browning, Beretta, Savage, Remington, and Marlin. We have an extensive selection of ammunition, including Remington, Federal, Winchester, and Hornady. We also have a full line of hunting accessories, including calls, decoys, and scents. King's Outdoors can take care of your hunting, fishing, and shooting needs year-round. Here at King's, we'll work hard to earn your business and keep your business. Y'all come see us.
When buying meat, make sure it's fresh and that you know where it came from. Stone's Meats in Chipley, Florida is the butcher of choice in this area.
Everything is made right here. We produce our own bacon, hams, and sausage.
From smoked bacon, hams, and sausage to fresh cut beef and pork, Henry Stone and his staff know the business. Henry can custom cut.
If you like your steak 3/4 of an inch or 1.5 inches, we'll cut them however you like them.
Folks, don't take any chances. Buy it fresh cut from the best. Stone's Meats, 1008 Highway 277, Shipley, Florida. Stone's also does deer processing. 850-638-0673. Be safe. Call Stone's Meats today. We've said it for years, folks. When you do business with Stone's Meats in Shipley, Florida, you know where your meat's coming from and you know that it's safe. Welcome back, folks. With me is Lynn Cherry. And Lynn Cherry, along with Helen Schroeder, were very instrumental in helping the state acquire this property here at Camp Helen. And tell us a little bit about that.
Ron, it's pretty exciting. In fact, we're continue to be record-setting here in Bay County. In 1995, Helen Schroeder, a local citizen in the Walton County area, heard that the developer and Avondale Mills were looking at buying and selling this Camp Helen property. And we got the attention of the citizens here after Helen wrote a letter to the editor in the Panama City News Herald, and the Gulf Coast Community College at that time actually played a lead role in the acquisition process. The dollars that we were able to use for this project came under the leadership of Governor Childs. And at that time, he coined a program called Preservation 2000, so that for a 10-year period of time, when you and I buy and sell state, regardless of where it is in the state, when you buy and sell land throughout the state, you pay dock stamps. Right. And with those dock stamps, a portion of those dollars raised went to the Preservation 2000 program.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and it continues today, but when Governor Bush was in office, and the 10 years was up, he recoined that same program to Florida Forever. So now you know the program as Florida Forever, but Governor Childs created it under the name of Preservation 2000.
So, next time you have to pay dock stamps, don't feel too bad about it, because some of it's going to a good cause.
Right. So that's what the state buys state parks with, land for forestry. The water management districts throughout the state of Florida buy precious lands and protect our drinking water with it. So yes, when you buy and sell land throughout the state, even today, a portion of those dollars goes to the Florida Forever program. But back to the actual purchase of Camp Helen, because it's really intriguing and quite an incredible story of the citizens who played a key role in acquiring this property. There was a local developer at the time named Doodle Harris. And Doodle was willing and very graciously worked with us so that we could position this property for acquisition by the state. And on the day that it was purchased for $13.5 million, yes, and this is 180 acres beachfront property now. So, you think of when you come by Camp Helen, Highway 98 splits it. So 125 acres of the property is south of Highway 98, and 55 acres is north of Highway 98. And the reason we were able...
That's where the trail, walking trail.
The walking trail, yes. Congressman Alan Boyd helped us get the money to build that. We got about $1 million for the actual development of that trail under Congressman Boyd's leadership many years ago. But the acquisition itself was citizen-led, and we still hold the record today of the number of letters that went into the key decision makers of the Preservation 2000 funding, and no one has topped us in the citizen involvement even today. And take in mind that occurred in 1995. And it's 2011 now.
When somebody gets determined, they stay determined.
That's right. So you know the old Margaret Mead quote, never doubt a group of citizens, and that we can move mountains when we want to.
That's amazing, folks, especially today, what people can do. That's amazing.
Exactly. So we have Camp Helen State Park, and incredible place to come and enjoy. If you've not been to Camp Helen, would encourage you to slow down.
Absolutely.
And bring a picnic out here. You can actually walk to the beach, bring your surfboards, bring your fishing tackle. It's great fishing here. I've caught the biggest flounder you could ever imagine.
Shut up.
Indeed, indeed. And people are catching all kinds of stuff at in the Gulf as well as on the shores here at Lake Powell.
Now don't bring your camper because you can't camp at Camp Helen. Like we've said many times, we don't think that we would want it that way. It's nice the way it is, but it is a nice place to visit, and you want to keep it that way. So you mentioned something during the break about Bay County being anchored by two parks.
So what we were able to create with this acquisition is that on Panama City Beach, we have the anchors on both ends, our east end and our west end being state parks. We have San Andrews State Park and now Camp Helen State Park. So regardless of what end of the beach you may be on right now, we encourage you to slow down and visit our state parks. They are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, don't mess with us. We got 2 parks, one on each end. So
that's right. That's right. And both are Gulf access.
Yeah.
Now you can drive up to the Gulf at St. Andrews, unlike that at Camp Helen. It's a little bit of hike through the natural dune system and everything, but it's worth it.
You can't bring your campers, but bring your hiking stuff. So
that and your camera.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it, and
thank you, Ron. Appreciate your support.
It's always nice to come out and talk to you folks.
Indeed. Thank you.
To reach this land of never-ending summer is simply to board a train, a plane, a bus, or a car. For all roads lead to Panama City.
Good old rock and roll, I know you say, oh.